Hey, hey, hey. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. My name is Lindsay Banks. I work as a psychic medium and intuitive. And this morning I am doing readings for the collective. So this is the first time I'm doing it on Instagram Live, and I'm doing it in my Facebook group as well. So I do have a Facebook group called Consciousness Arising, if you would like to come over and join us there. The group is basically for anyone who feels they don't have anyone to speak to about the spiritual journey, who are maybe empaths or sensitives or light workers, and maybe going through a spiritual awakening. You can come in. It's a very supportive group, and we basically just get to know each other. So there's a couple of cards this week which I do feel for the collective. So the first card is prayer. So I'll hold that up to that one and then to there. So prayer. So I feel as if, you know, there's a lot of anger and frustration and fear, which is all coming up to the surface, which, you know, it ties in with the full moon, because the full moon is around letting go and releasing, etc. So I feel as if what this card's saying, it's for us to remember that prayer is effective. So I remember, you know, when I was a younger girl, thinking that prayer was to do with religion and praying to God, etc. But the powers of praying, and it doesn't have to be, you know, to a God, you know, you can just say a prayer, set an intention that you are praying for the families of those who've lost loved ones due to abuses of power, or whoever you want to send love out to, you know, even praying that you want to send love to the collective, you want to send this, etc. Praying for, you know, situations to come for the higher good, etc. Are all sort of, it's all good. It's, you know, you can't do anything bad or incorrect by praying to upstairs, source, universe, angels, whoever. You know, if you want to pray to someone, just give them your own name. So I feel as if that's going to be really beneficial this week. So if you can just take a couple of minutes in the evening before you go to bed to pray for sort of, you know, to pray for people to feel healing in their hearts, to pray for people to be acting from compassion, from kindness, from love, etc., for forgiveness, whatever it looks like for you, I feel will be of benefit as well. And okay, I'm trying to, there's something to do with Archangel Sandalphon as well, and he's sort of, I think he's from, okay, take it back, okay. So Archangel Sandalphon is, I believe, something to do with the underworld as well. I remember I learned something called Metatronic healing like a number of years ago, and I did this meditation with Sandalphon, and I remember feeling really dizzy. I felt like I was on an emotional roller coaster, and I just wanted this meditation to stop because he was bringing up so much stuff for me during that meditation. So I feel as if this card is also, as well as to do with actual prayer for the collective, it's around you taking that time to find your inner stillness and to meditate on yourself and what is coming up. Okay, what is coming up, sorry, when I say okay, I'm speaking upstairs because they're giving me messages as well, so I'm just like, just chill out a minute. Okay, so what they're wanting to say is about when there's feelings coming up for you around anger, around fear, around impatience, or whatever it looks like, yeah, it's around sitting with that feeling, okay? It can feel uncomfortable. You might not want to sit with it. You might feel even more angrier because you're like, I'm not doing anything, yeah? But it's about really sitting and embracing these feelings that are coming up for you, okay? So it's around yourself as well. Okay, so when we're sitting and meditating with those feelings, we can really start to get to the reason why you're feeling that. So if it's anger, for example, why are you feeling angry? Yeah. If you're feeling, like I said, impatience, why are you feeling impatient? And what you'll often find is that there's a core reason for you feeling that way, okay? And then when you start to recognize what that core feeling is, you can then work with it to be able to use it to your advantage, or to your, that's where your power sort of lies. So for an example, and I've shared this, you know, quite a lot on my Facebook, in my Facebook group and with my Facebook page and everything, but for me, there's like, I've always had like this anger and this rage, and I'm like, where did it come from? So I dug deep and I dug deep and I dug deep, and it's uncomfortable, and you're like, oh my God, there's so much stuff coming up. But for me, when I feel that anger and I feel that reason, and for me, the biggest thing that I feel angry about is when people cannot speak their truth, yeah, and their voices aren't heard. So for me, that means that if I'm seeing a situation, if I'm in a situation where people's voices aren't being heard, then I get really passionate about it, and I'm like, actually, you know, this is your voice, you deserve to be heard, yeah. So really getting to the core of that will help. Sorry, sometimes I feel like I'm ranting and going off on one, but this is just what upstairs give me. Okay, so the next card that came up, so this one is Goddess of Sacred Power. So I mentioned power with the prayer card, and this one says you are being encouraged to take a leading role in your current situation. Okay, so let me just ask. Okay. So I feel as if with this card, and I don't know if you can see very clearly, but there's different sort of like symbols over the front, and it's as if there's like a mask over this person, yeah. And I feel as if this week it's time to take that mask off and really to be more of you, yeah, and allowing yourself to lead others, yeah. So if you're in a situation now where you're like, well, I'm not leading anyone, I'm not helping anyone. There was something that came up last week where I was talking about, you know, leading by example. So you, when you live in a certain way, yeah, whether it's, you know, using eco-friendly products or reducing your waste, or, you know, you've decided you want to live off grid, whatever your life looks like, when you're sharing snippets of your life on social media and people see it, or when you're talking to people about how you live your life and what you're doing, yeah, something will sort of start to sort of like make an impact for others. So they might start thinking, oh well, if they can reduce their waste, then so can I, yeah. Or if they can do that, then so can I. So you're planting seeds. So even if you're sat there thinking, well, I'm not a leader, yeah, there's something that you're doing in your life, something you're creating, some way of being that you are, which is leading others, yeah, and which is helping them. So it might be that you have found, you know, something that's been really useful to you in terms of going through quarantine, going through isolation, etc. Yeah, it might be that you've shared your journey. It might be you've had a story or, you know, a history of abuse or violence or something, and you've come through it. So sharing your own personal story during this time is always going to be of benefit to others. Okay. And I feel as if many of us, especially, like I said, I've got this feeling that Friday, like I know I've already said with Friday, with this full moon, but a lot of us are going to be stepping even more into our personal power, yeah, and standing up more, not only for ourselves, but for others as well. So people whose voices maybe aren't being heard, etc. The people, I feel like people who can speak and who are like, this is me, rah, rah, rah. I'm not going to sing. But do you know what I mean? Are going to start doing that more for the people who haven't yet found their voices. Okay, so then the last card we have is forgiveness. And it's, okay, so it's Saint Mary Magdalene as well. So for those of you who maybe don't know, Saint Mary Magdalene, her energies come through a few times. It came through, when did it come through again? I think it was last year. I was doing some workshop, or no, I would say, I'd read something about Mary Magdalene, then the next day I got a card which was Mary Magdalene, and then the next day someone started telling me about Mary Magdalene. So when something like this happens, yeah, Mary Magdalene's energy is still around many of us at this time. So I feel like she's bringing in her energy for, again, the collective, for everyone, and finding it in your heart to be able to forgive people who need it. So I posted something the other day about kindness, and being kind to others is brilliant, yeah, because when you're kind to someone, often they reciprocate and they're kind back. But the most difficult thing of all is being kind to someone who doesn't act like they want it, if that makes sense. So, but the people who need our kindness and our forgiveness the most are those who need it the most. Did that make sense? The people who need it the most are probably the people who are most damaged within. That doesn't sound right. Hold on. Okay, right. Just rewind a bit. If we can find it in our hearts to forgive those who you don't feel need forgiveness, need it the most. It sounds very cryptic, and I feel like I'm just saying the word forgiveness a lot of the minute. But I feel like Mary Magdalene's energy is coming in to help us all to learn this lesson, yeah. And it is a massive lesson, because there are some people where you might be thinking, I don't want to forgive that person, or I don't want to forgive that person, yeah. But again, it's about going really sort of deep within and just finding it within your heart. And Mary Magdalene's energy is a beautiful energy to work with as well. So if you feel drawn to, you know, read up about her. You know, I do believe that she was the twin flame of Jesus Christ. But yeah, I feel like she has a very soothing energy. And there's also the forgiveness for yourself as well. So if there's anything that you've done, you know, in the past, if there's anything that you are doing and you're beating yourself up about, then be kind to yourself as well, you know, and forgive yourself. There's a reason why we do things to ourselves, and maybe why we have sort of like negative self-talk, or why we have maybe sort of like addictions, or maybe why, you know, we're hurting ourselves either physically or verbally. You know, there's more behind it. It's not, you know, you weren't born, for example, to self-harm or to be cruel to yourself. You know, there's a reason. So start digging deeper and find the forgiveness for yourself as well. And then the last card I got is this beautiful hare, which came up. Someone's got business about hares. Hare oracle cards, I think it is. I'm sure I seen something the other day about hares. So spring, see your seeds grow. So any work that you've been doing on yourself, any sort of healing work you've been doing, any meditations, anything where you've been sowing these seeds, it's going to start to come to fruition. And I feel like there's going to be, it's like you're going to be able to manifest, you know, and create the life that you want, because you've started planting these seeds, and they are going to start growing. Okay, I'm just going to do one of the affirmation cards from, so I created my own pack. So I have written a book called A Gentle Hug for the Soul, which is a bit like a foundation for a spiritual awakening. I didn't realise it at the time, but the more that I talk about it, the more I'm like, actually it is. You know, where it covers gratitude, mindfulness, your spiritual army. But from that, I created affirmation cards as well, because I'm a massive believer in using affirmations to help. So let's see what affirmation we need for this week. So, I love without fear. Okay, I love without fear. I quite like that one, because often, you know, sometimes we think, oh, I can't love that person, because there may be fear of rejection. There may be a fear of that person not loving us back. There might be fears around commitment. Yeah, there might be loads of stuff going on. But when you can start to love without feeling any fear, it sort of opens up your heart to more, to receiving more love, as well as being able to give more love. Okay. Okay, so those are the cards for this week. I hope you have enjoyed it. So I'm going to be